Yes, my people, what's good? One more again. We see this video, I got a circle around the area, and I say, you know what, I take it and work on it and let the people here what I'm gonna think. Cause right now, I'm pissed off in a bedroom. Right now, I'm not lying, I mean, I love how Andrew always do the thing to, because right now, these ladies are real lady, because how America, if you come tell we, say we know if we keep ties with Cuba, right? And what happened now? Him said the government now who take sideline with Cuba, they want to lose them visa become a US. So we're gonna see if this man are really real about Jamaica or what him are just feel man in friend them. Right now you can see Trinidad Prime Minister, this nice lady from Barbados come defend the thing, So me know them people are really there, But watch a video and tell me what you think.
Cuba is poor. It's a failed communist state. Really? You would be poor too if you were under a 60-year economic blockade?
You ain't lying.
Labeled as a terrorist supporter for...
Your pardon?
Really? That's what they say? Watch this.
Now look at this.
The world's terrorists are the United States. Look what we did to Iraq. Look what we did to Libya. Libya, the most successful country in all of Africa. The guy created the eighth wonder of the world with the way how he delivered water and turned deserts into farmland. And everybody had a house and everybody had education and healthcare. And we turned it into a failed state run by terrorists with open slave markets. Who did that? Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton did that. And they'll never have to pay a price for that. Barack Obama, the most he'll do is go, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Peanut Jill, what do you think should happen to these people?
Go to prison.
for daring to be socialist and hit with endless sanctions. But despite all that, Cuba still outperforms the US in key areas. Like what? Last time I checked, people were trying to escape to Miami, not Havana.
Very funny, very funny.
That's cute. But let's talk fact, not feelings.
Damn right.
Here's how Cuba, a tiny socialist nation under siege, stacks up against the almighty capitalist United States. Do you have time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine being the richest country in the world and getting beaten by a country that you tried to start for 6 decades.
That doesn't sound good.
I guess socialist laziness doesn't apply when everyone has a job, right? Hundreds of thousands sleeping on the streets in the land of freedom, while Cuba, under embargo, ensures everyone has a home.
For real, bro. The man have a point, bro. Because listen, that's what they keep doing. Going around disrespect the other countries like Africa, all those places that poor, you know what I'm saying? Like there are places like heaven. They had no homeless people there, nothing at all. And when you check it, got people living on chain, they cannot find somewhere to live. You get me trying to say? You got a house, you do not pay mortgage and stuff like you can lose a house like that. So that's what they keep on doing, bro.
In the US, getting sick equals bankruptcy. In Cuba, getting sick equals free treatment.
No, look at that. Now the US government come out now, want the Caribbean to cut ties with Cuba. In which we don't have no problem with Cuba, right? You had problem with Cuba, you're not friend with Cuba. Why should I don't keep friend with Cuba? Why? Man, you should go to hell, man. You're full of shit.
Remind me again, which system keeps people uneducated?
Cuba.
Cuba has 3 times more doctors per capita than the US.
Prove it. I know I can go prove it.
That's why Cuba sends doctors to other countries while the US send bombs.
Everybody know this.
Hey, hold on, this shit ain't funny.
Cuba, despite its embargo, has a lower infant mortality rate than the US. What's your excuse? More people die for malnutrition in the US than in Cuba.
You kidding me?
Let that sink in. Maybe you should worry less about socialist crimes and more about why the US cities look like war zones.
Here he drop another bombshell. Yeah, he's talking true. I saw a video on YouTube. They show some place in America. Some place, man, you cannot believe it. And some bridges and some place that you cannot believe that is America to where they talk about America.
Capitalism hoards wealth at the top while socialism makes sure that its people doesn't starve on the streets. Which one sounds better? One exports war, the other exports doctors.
Huh?
One exports war, the other exports doctors. Guess which one is called a terrorist?
I don't think you're saying what you mean to say.
Hold on. Cuba has done all that under an embargo?
Oh, yes.
Imagine what it could do if it weren't being strangled by capitalism. Damn, I never knew about that. That's because capitalism feeds you propaganda. But hey, welcome to the fucking reality. Wow, I have a lot to think about. Good luck, comrade.
God Almighty, see there. Thank you.
Honestly, I didn't know that this thing was going on. But sometimes people try to spite you, you know. And sometimes it's actually good for you because listen, right now Cuba can help themselves. A lot of things they can do because of these things they put on him and restriction on these people unfairly.
Them need to stop it, man.
This matter with the Cubans and the nurses should tell us everything that we need to know.
Damn right.
Barbados does not currently have Cuban medical staff or Cuban nurses, but I will be the first to go to the line and to tell you that we could not get through the pandemic without the Cuban nurses and the Cuban doctors. I'll be the first to tell you that we paid them the same thing that we pay Bajans, and that the notion, as was peddled not just by this government in the US, but the previous government, that we were involved in human trafficking by engaging with the Cuban nurses was fully repudiated and rejected by us. Now, I don't believe that we have to shout across the seas.
No!
But I am prepared, like others in this region, that if we cannot reach a sensible agreement on this matter, then if the cost of it is the loss of my visa to the US, then so be it.
Now you see my family. You see why I love this lady? You can imagine. And we don't hear nothing from the Jamaican government. This lovely lady, man, I'm telling you, she's a real leader. Listen.
I return now to the issue of Cuba. That Cuba can help so many in this world.
So true.
And yet be the continued victim of a blockade of over 60 years, but worse than that.
No, that is not enough for them. They feel like to put on more.
A designation as a state sponsor of terrorism is wrong, wrong, wrong.
No, you saw American government go to work. They try to push you around, and if you do not do that, they try to label your lies on you and take your thing and say you're a terrorist.
We left Cuba last week. And what the people of Cuba are being asked to face on a daily basis because of a designation by a dying presidency is wrong. And the voices of the global community, many of whom have been the beneficiaries of Cuban assistance.
Like this one. We're waiting to hear what he had to say.
Need to stand united and to be able to say that we cannot fight these battles when we need all hands on deck to save the planet. The artificial division of who is right and who is wrong and who is good and who is bad in the eyes of those who are powerful cannot continue to be the way in which this world functions.
Yeah, that's how she's a real leader. You can see. Let me see what Trinidad Prime Minister had to say.
We rely a lot for our healthcare delivery on certain specialists who over the decades we have obtained from India, from the Philippines, sometimes from Africa, and mainly from Cuba. Out of the blue now we are being called human traffickers.
I don't think you're saying what you mean to say.
No. Because we hire technical people who we pay top dollar equal to local rates, but we are now being accused of taking part in the program where people are being exploited.
That doesn't sound good.
That's somebody's interpretation. And of course, there are local people here encouraging them to take away our US visas.
Yes, it's true, you're talking. And you look like these people sick. You hear me, Wanya? Yeah.
Today, I just came back from California. And if I never there again in my life, I will ensure that the sovereignty of Trinidad and Tobago is known to its people and respected by all.
Okay, you can see that now. Why Jamaican Prime Minister don't come out and say something like this? Why he's afraid of America?
Something alright. Something alright, yeah.
Love Topic TV.
Why? You're serious?